Storygram Network.
Hey, Gerardo, what are you doing this summer?
What am I doing? Don't even get me started. There's a bunch of stuff that we're doing in the summer here at the center.
That's right. It's called Summers at the Center.
Summers at the center.
Thursday night, starting actually tonight, which is Thursday, beginning of summer. But we are going all the way to the end of
August.
September. August. Yeah. And what that means is you can come and try something new. Maybe it's a combo experience like brushes and beats where you'll dance and have bilingual paint night. Maybe it's trying line dancing with the line dancing hometown hoedown. Maybe it's a class, margaritas and Mexican ceviche.
Mexican ceviche. Yeah, that'll be me right there, Come
with
and
Chef
join
G.
us. Yeah.
We've also got Clay and Chardonnay, Bellinis and birdhouses, salsa dancing and sangria, and 2 amazing concerts.
And let's not forget cocktails and competition.
Cocktails and competition coming
That'll
next
be
week.
nice. One of the big concerts is going to be the KSVY Jazz Project. That's going
right.
to be really good. And that will be in June 27th.
June 27th, that's coming, as well as what do we have coming at the end of August, which was hugely popular.
Yeah, that's Braulio Barrera con Kimba. That will be in August 29th.
And I think we're going to have our pals, our unofficial non-sponsors, but we love them, Costa
The
Tacos.
Costa Tacos. Whoop, whoop.
So come and join us. We like to satisfy all the palates. Tickets are available for individual experiences, or you can buy a summer pass for very affordability.
Yeah, they won't be disappointed. There's
Yeah.
so many good things happening that they're going to be happy. if they buy the
Exactly.
tickets.
Join us. Summers at the Center 2024. You can get your tickets at sonomacommunitycenter.org.
Yep. Let's get our dancing starting, huh?
You bet. Hello, we are the Sonoma Community Center podcast, a place of creativity, connection, and community. We highlight the artists, teachers, and the community that come through the doors of our historic brick building, often called the heart of Sonoma. We share local tips and shout outs to our home, Sonoma Valley. And we are your hosts, Molly Spencer.
Gerardo Diaz.
We are the engagement team of the Sonoma Community Center.
Good morning. You are listening to Hollywood and West Napa, and you're listening to Molly Fix Her Bangs, because that's what I did. Turned on the mic. Molly's
Thank you for recording that special moment
you're
with everyone.
You're welcome. I am Kat Smith. This is Hollywood and West Napa, and also it's going to be the Sonoma Community Center podcast. And I've got as my co-host today, Molly Spencer.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're collabing.
We're collabing.
Uh-huh.
It's like a collab lab.
Oh, God.
You might want to bring up at some point. Anyways.
Yeah. Well,
because we're going to talk a lot about dancing.
Oh, yes. Well, we're here for one special jazz hand shaking his shoulder guest.
Eric Jackson in the house in Sonoma.
Hello.
Wait,
the prodigal son returns.
Is it not on? Am I not on?
I feel like mine isn't on.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Maybe you just really need to get friendly with that microphone. Yes.
Is mine on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You guys are all good. Are your ears not working? You don't have to wear your headphones if you don't want to. Maybe it's easier to hear.
It feels important.
It makes you look important.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back to town.
This is crazy being back home. I call Sonoma home.
I love that.
For a reason, because, I mean, let's be real. Nowhere else can you get all the arts and the music and the culture and the food and the scenery. It's lovely to come
It's
back.
an embarrassment of riches.
It really
it's
is.
just like off the charts, especially right now. And I mean, we're excited. Of course, I'm excited because I know you through the Sonoma Community Center when you were hired on as the creatives arts manager, I believe.
That's right.
Creative projects, whatever. I inherited some things from you, and I can't say enough how
One really
fun
big
they
thing.
are. But we're mostly here to talk about what you're in town for.
I know. So my initial reason why I came out to Sonoma back in 2011 was for this random one-night-only concert with a theater company called Transcendence. And it was trying to save Jack London State Park and be almost like an experiment to see if they could actually do concerts in this area, if people would show up. And I remember they were thinking that maybe 100 people or so might show up, and we got about 900.
Wow.
And I remember looking out
the
being
one-night
like,
show.
that one night show and going, whatever's happening here, whatever magic is in this place, I need to be a part of, and I need to come back to this.
Aww.
So then as a result, I kept on coming back, and that's what got me to move here ultimately.
So you're one of the OGs.
I guess. Actually, yeah, because I was there for that first concert. So I am an OG.
You're an OG.
Who all was with us back then? Amy and Brad would have been. Brooke Tansley.
Stephen Stubbins, Leah Sprecher. Who else? It was...
Broadway Barbara.
Was Dylan here at the beginning, or did he come later?
He came, I think, the season after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this town drew some of you in really fast.
And I mean, for a reason, too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, there's so much love here. And for, performers who have been in the urban city, who have lived in New York, who have been, trying to hustle and get a job, and then just having that urban landscape kind of like always beat you down. To come out here was a chance to actually exhale and relax, and you felt rejuvenated, you felt renewed. It was a beautiful thing.
I love it.
Do you find that a lot of the performers that come through, I know it's pretty condensed, the way they're doing it this year, but do they all have that feeling when they come through? Like you recognize, you're all, oh, I see that,
Yes, yes.
It's like a little vitamin B shot.
Because they come in with that
Sonoma.
They come in with that mentality of, I'm here to do a job, I'm here to do a show. And our cast, this one right now, has 10 performers. 5 are veterans who are coming back again, and then we have 5 new faces who have never been here before, never worked with Transcendence before. And so they get to see through the veterans, oh, this is a different gig. This is not what we think the job should be or is going to be or has been. It's completely new. And you see them just go, oh, I can be myself.
Yes.
You want me to authentically show up on stage as I would as just an artist and not have to play a specific role or do a certain thing? That is mind-blowing to them. And I love seeing them kind of like, for that first day, their brains melt just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, it's hard when you're, I imagine, as you go around and you're in different sorts of plays and musicals and you're always taking on a role as someone else. It's kind of off-putting to ask someone to be yourself on stage. And I tell you, Transcendence does that really well. When you see a show, you see the personalities come through. Believe me, I've been there with you, looking through the books, you're like, that one. And I'd love to just see that sparkle come through each of those people. It's hard to kind of select like, oh, that's the star of the show because of a character. No, they're really come through on their own.
They are themselves. And I think that's what drew me to the company at first, too, because I felt like I was getting sick of trying to be something I wasn't. In the industry, you're trying to fit a mold or a box, or you have to play a certain role. And oftentimes it stretches you to the point where you're like, this is not who I am. Right. And so coming out here, performing, I was like, oh, wow, I can find my own voice. I can sing the songs how I want to sing. And it was a healing process as a result. And so that helped me go, oh, I think I'm good with leaving the business now. I think I'm ready to now go to the other side of the table to really dig my feet into directing and choreographing and conceiving shows. And so that's what I get to do now. And I'm currently in Salt Lake City, and I'm working for a regional theater company there where I get to do that and get to be on the other side of the table as the associate artistic director of Pioneer Theater Company.
Fun. How has that been? It's been a couple of years.
It has, yes.
You moved from Sonoma out there, and I know it's been a pretty... It sounds like it's a great place to be as well.
I need to be in theater. I need to be around theater. That's my love language. It's all about
I do
that.
it. When we used to work together, how lucky was I? I really miss the kickball changes and jazz hands coming down the hallways at the community center. But your heart always has been in theater. But I think people with theater bring that work mentality to all aspects of their life. And I know just doing some of the events at the community center, you brought that work ethic and that like, we're going to get it done. Kat, you know that too. You have that a bit as well. It's like, we're going to get this done. It's going to be over the top. We're going to make this more than just dumping it off for people to see, but feeling and theater, and you really share that, and making it an experience all around.
I'm glad you said that, because that's actually how I approached all the events at the center.
You do.
For me, it was about storytelling. I'm always a storyteller.
Yeah.
I'm always about what is the experience from beginning, middle to end. And so I would go into an event and think about that for whoever was attending that event. What are they going to experience when they show up? What is the meat and potatoes of the event? And then how do we send them off with a certain feeling? It was always a narrative for me, and always like a story, and that's how I approached theater as well.
You have me approach events like that too. I think we all do. You know, what are they eating? What are they tasting? What are they smelling? Who are they communicating with? You know, how are they communicating with the people on stage? So important, you know.
Oh, I miss Trashion.
And if you don't know, Eric's big thing is, well, next year is 15 years of Trash and Fashion Sonoma, and it was Margaret founded it.
Yes.
And then Eric took it over in 2017.
It was kind of daunting. It was one of those.
I know.
How do you take over this wonderful institution that was, you know, brought to life and just became such an important part of the center's offering to the community? How do you take that over?
Right.
But like I like to do, I like to be of service. So I like to think to myself is, how do I serve this event? How do I serve those who are participating in the event? And how do I serve the public that's attending it? And that way I can take myself out of the equation. It's not about me.
Absolutely.
And it's about the experience. So I was like, okay, how do I honor Margaret and her wonderful work?
Right.
And that was how I approached Trashion. And it was very fascinating, too, because as COVID hit and quarantine hit, it was, how do I still provide this wonderful artistic opportunity in this crazy, wild world where we're all at home? And so we did our virtual show.
2020.
That was all
It was November.
My goodness.
And it was magical. It really was a love letter to Sonoma, and yourself and Kat Austin, and so many people went around to the people's homes or places in Sonoma that are just magical, and it was beautifully filmed, by the way. I know it was a lot of editing work. Showed you what you don't want to do in the future.
You learn skills when you're, you know, pushed by what you have to do in real time. And then the following year, we did one that was live streamed.
Yes, the hybrid. That was. Were you in the hybrid show,
Nope,
Kat?
nope.
Kat, you've been in the show
you know
so many
what?
times. She calls herself the
Susan
Susan
Lucci
Lucci
of
of
Trashion.
I love it.
But so Eric, you were my last hug before we went into quarantine when I came in to pick up Barbie clothes that I had to throw in the wash because they were rescued from ecology. And then Molly continued to save Barbie clothes for me, and I eventually did enter my Barbie clothes dress.
So I have to see pictures of that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I know. That was a hybrid. That was a strange but magical one as well. And you talk about it being daunting, and I'm just going to chime in here. Absolutely. So not only did I have Margaret Hatcher and her take on it, and just the amazing person she is, I had your shoes to fill. But I ran beside you. I always like having our 10-minute talks and sort of like get things done, and then we do what we're supposed to do. So yes, it was daunting, but it again took on a shape of its own. It's not about me. It's about the community people. It's about the artists. That's my favorite part, is the kids and the artists and the people that are coming through and showing these amazing creations.
The kids are so cute, and they're so creative.
Oh my goodness.
Teenagers and just the outreach. I mean, it's blown up to be a really big thing in Sonoma community. Next year's our 15 years, and hopefully you'll be back out in one way or another.
I would love that. And I also love the fact that we have kind of extended our family, our Trashion community beyond Sonoma because of the fact that we had those crazy quarantine, streaming shows and whatnot. We've been able to bring in some artists from across the country who work in recycled materials to be a part of it and to be judges. And so I love that now Sonoma's Trash and Fashion is becoming this.
Yes, we've had some of them come to us, like Deborah Rappaport and Hoping for More, and Robert Mahar, who came on. It's just
you almost had someone from New York this time.
That would be through Eric, Machine Dazzle. He was out here as an artist and was a guest judge. Was it 2020?
Or 2021.
I forget which one it was.
One of those
But they're amazing, and we hope to have them back out in whatever capacity as well, because Machine Dazzle's just a brilliant person, a costume designer, and amazing. And so many others, you know, that you really... I mean, the wonders of social media, even though I roll at social media, that really exposed Trash and Fashion Sonoma, which has an Instagram account running alongside Sonoma Community Center, really just took a whole nother level, you know, with those artists. And
I'll come back.
You come back. We got a department we're starting. So anyway, back to theater.
Back to theater.
Do you have some questions about
I
how
have
Eric
lots
started?
of questions. I've just been watching. I'm like, this is fun. I can just back up and take a nap over here.
So fun.
Well, I want to start with you left Sonoma, which was sad for many of us, including Jerome the mailman. Hi, Jerome.
Hi, Jerome. Thanks for recognizing me the other day when I was back in town.
Tell us about this theater that you are currently working for.
So in Salt Lake City, Pioneer Theater Company is a professional regional theater. We bring in New York actors for 7 shows that we do each season that runs between September through May. We have plays and musicals, and we do traditional work as well as things that are just recently fresh off of Broadway, and we get to be the first regional premiere or Utah premiere. Last year, we did a premiere of the musical Shucked that then went on to Broadway.
Yes.
So it started at that Pioneer Theater Company first.
And really?
It was an out-of-town tryout for that company before they went to the Great White Way. So that was a big deal. And so we also, on top of bringing in some New York talent, we have slots so that people who are local can also audition and be a part of the shows. And so
that's nice.
It's fun to have a range and a variety of different offerings to the community. And as associate artistic director, I get to be a part of all things creative that's happening there. So I get to be a part of deciding what shows we will produce that season or the next season. I get to step in and be a part of casting and just help oversee just the running of all the departments and all the great designers and artists that come into our theater.
Awesome. Yeah. And I see right now you're doing the classic Jersey Boys.
That's right.
That's coming up. And what's your involvement with that?
Same.
I'm
there, all of it.
All of the hats?
Yes. And as I've learned here, just also being a part of the community. So I do community outreach. I partner with organizations.
Sounds like our job.
Exactly. I do arts and educational workshops. So I'm working with the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Oh, nice.
Bringing theater and having those wonderful opportunities to learn about the different disciplines that are in theater, taking that to the Boys and Girls Clubs, having them try out set design or costume design or learning about like makeup. And then they all get to come see the shows for free.
So
and
nice.
then we have these wonderful talkbacks with the cast afterwards. So these are all the things I get to be a part of there.
I'm curious with Pioneer Theater, do you have, where are you sourcing a lot of your actors from?
New York, for the most part.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When you're going out and doing outreach and stuff, is there, is Salt Lake City, is there a lot of students? Is there a thriving arts program or theater department that you are also working with? In colleges or something?
That's a great question. We are actually on the campus of the University of Utah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we work close in hand with the department there.
It's like Trashion. Well, you need someone that's gone through it and knows full well how to communicate with these children in order to build a outreach education program.
Absolutely.
Not just one person, Spencer. But we got a few that are coming up, and it's important to build and treasure that all the way through your whole community. I love that with the colleges coming through. So there's a program and they know.
I'm working with the student teachers there. I'm working with the theater department and the musical theater department. So people who are, professionals in their field who are also teaching these elements can create a wonderful opportunity for the Boys and Girls Clubs to learn at their level. And then we even have an internship program, which is wonderful for the musical theater majors to be able to work alongside everyone there in the admin side so they can just see how it all works, right?
Yes.
Beyond what's just on stage. It's one thing to learn the craft and go, okay, I can sing and dance and whatever, but then they get a chance to be a part of our productions by being on crews, so they can be on the wardrobe crew, they could do spotlight, what have you, and then they come away from their experience having that full 360 degree just knowledge of, oh, this is what I will be a part of and how I can appreciate everyone who actually collaborates together in this wonderful theater world.
The gong means we're back. I'm Kat Smith, Molly Spencer, Eric Jackson, all in the house.
Gong.
I love the gong,
I've
too.
missed the gong.
You missed the gong. Aw, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Real quick on your current theater that you're with in Utah, last thing, is there a show that's coming up that you're excited to introduce audiences to, or are you looking at next season thinking we've got to show the world this, they haven't seen it yet?
Yes, there is a play that we're doing called Prayer for the French Republic that was literally just off Broadway that moved to Broadway and closed. And I believe we might be one of the first theaters in the country performing and producing this play. And it is a very fascinating story, it's a one big family drama, but in two different time periods in France. And it's meaty, it's weighty. It's everything I think theater is supposed to be. It asks questions, but it doesn't tell you the answers, and it forces you to bring yourself to the story. And I just invite people to, if you don't know anything about Prayer for the French Republic, to possibly do some research, look it up, and maybe read it. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and I can't wait for our audiences to see it.
All right.
That sounds good. I love it. Part of that being your theater background, you always did this, and I love this. Every year you would go back to New York and literally go on a binge theater.
Oh, did you really?
Binge.
That's
you
amazing.
do this every year, but I think you might have broken your own record this year, right?
Yes. Well,
Okay, tell us what you saw.
so normally I go and I see as many shows as possible.
Right.
And I
This
go.
is your community. Quite a
Yes.
few people still in the theater back there.
That's correct. So I go to, all the matinees, all the evening performances, and I see my friends on stage and I support them. And it's a chance for me to just catch up with all the things I might be missing. And this past time I went was late May, early June. And for those people who don't know, the Tony Awards are like the Oscars or the Emmys of the theater community. And at that time, they have special performances so that those who are voting, or those voters for the Tonys, can see
for your
and
consideration.
make sure they see all the shows, which means that instead of just having a Saturday matinee or a Wednesday matinee available, there were also Thursday matinees and like the special Monday evening shows. So I squeezed in about 7 days time. I think it was about 11 different shows that I saw.
Wow.
And on top of that, I'm going to show you what big of a nerd I am when it comes to theater. Lincoln Center, they have a library, their public library for the performing arts, and they have an archive of Broadway plays and musicals that they have recorded, and it's on film back through, I think, starting around like mid-70s. So as long as you have a library card, you can make an appointment and see possibly almost any play or musical that's been on Broadway. And so I also saw 2 other shows while I was there. So technically I saw 13 shows in 1 week.
That's my dream vacation.
Mr. Jackson. And are you even on like the Tony voting committee?
No, but
how
I
does that
should
work?
be.
How does that work? Who gets to be on the, is it a card, carrying SAG card? Like, what is that?
That's a great question. I don't think I know the ins and outs of it.
That's one for Google.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll ask.
I know people who have made it, but I'm not quite sure just what those parameters are just yet because I would love to someday.
Is there any plays out there that you're like, wow, I want to bring this Pioneer Theater, or in your own world that you would like to produce or direct or something like that you have your eyes on?
Well, this past season, Stereophonic, which won the Tony Award for Best Play, was one of my tops of all the things I saw while I was there. It's a 3-hour play. Ooh, you're like, oh no, 3 hours. But it goes by like that. It is so quick. You get to be a fly on the wall while this band in the 70s goes into a recording studio. And you get to, through the course of 3 hours, get to know each and every one of them and the relationships and the things that they're going through. And it was directed so naturally and realistically that you really felt like you were there, that you had gone through this time travel and you just appeared and these people were real right in front of you.
Amazing.
I'm sure it's
also
about
helped. A 70s band. Is it like being in a documentary only on a stage?
Exactly.
Wow,
exactly
that's really cool. Magical little experience because I love that kind of stuff, you know.
And it also helped that I got rush tickets, so I was in the front row.
Ooh,
and I could reach out if I wanted to. Like, they were as close as you are to me, where I could almost touch them if I wanted to. And they're just standing there crying their eyes out. I'm just obsessed with just, that.
Stereophonic. That's the name of it.
Okay,
So
we're looking that up.
All right, we're looking it up.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get the acting bug? When's the first moment you realized I want to sing or dance or act or whichever came first?
I've always been a shy person.
Really?
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. I
was
am
shy
to this
too.
day. Like, I need to go to a certain place to be able to be outward facing and, that person. But I've always been shy. And as a kid, for some reason, I was given the opportunity to sing a solo in our Christmas pageant when I was in first grade.
Aw.
And I was the mouse that saved Christmas. And my name was Achoo, and I saved Christmas by sneezing. And I had this one little solo. And I remember just standing on stage, and we did a show for the school before doing the show that evening for the parents. And I stood there in front of the whole entire school and, student body, as well as all of the teachers and faculty. And I sang the song, and I remember everyone just being captivated and just staring at me. And I remember thinking to myself, this is powerful, and this is something that I should use for good. I remember thinking all these things and having a sense of
little first grade Eric.
having a sense of responsibility about this. If that makes any sense.
It's kind of fascinating that you can put that together as a young child, because normally it'd be like, I'm getting all this love, I'm getting this adoration, but for you to take it a step further and be a provider of I can do good things with this,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very much so.
Wow.
It was also a tool, because then I realized, I don't have to be myself on stage. I can
Yes.
hide behind characters, and I can find a little bit of self-confidence by saying the things I wouldn't normally say or doing the things I wouldn't normally do in real life. So that helped me in the long run. But the overall takeaway for me was there is power in art. There is power in being able to capture everyone's attention. And then what do we do with that? Once you've captured their attention, how can we change the world for the better, possibly?
Right.
And I feel like I've been kind of encoded with this life mission of just figuring that out and how I can change the world through theater art.
Isn't it funny how a character can really give you confidence, though? Because I think, since we're all talking about being shy, I'm not shy, but I do get nervous if I'm me on stage. I had a karaoke business, no problems. I've been a theater major, no problems getting on as a character. But if somebody, we had a comedy night 2 nights ago, or what day do I think it is? Friday night. And it was my turn to go up and introduce, right? And I was so nervous because I'm me.
Yes.
But you give me a character, I have no problem. Walk right out there, do it. It's like no one's even there.
I think that is a huge thing when it comes to the arts, performance, dance, whatever it is confidence. This is what you see it in Trashion as well. And it's funny, I'm about to do a post on that, congratulating all the kids going back to school. But what you see, the takeaway, you might not follow what you start in. Say you start in Trashion, you end up doing whatever. You're taking that confidence into the world, though. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not that character, you are building upon that confidence that just kind of keeps going. And next thing you know, you're directing shows. So, so I think that's really key to it.
So first grade Eric has an epiphany. What comes next in the theater world?
For me and my journey? I think the next thing was that I was really enjoying the people I was with. So I think theater pulls in a variety of different people who might not feel that they fit in elsewhere.
Yes.
And I found a tribe of like-minded people who are just open, who are creative, who are just there to have fun. And I felt like I fit in that tribe. So that helped cement the fact that there's something about theater, and there's something about the theater community and those who partake in it, whatever they may be doing on stage or off stage. That's fantastic. And I also like that, too.
Yeah.
The fact that it is a collaborative art form where no matter what your skill sets may be, there's a place for you. And everyone is celebrated because everyone is needed in order to do theater, right? To build.
All hands on deck when it comes to productions.
To design, to sewing, to lighting, to being the boss, being a stage manager, telling people, we're back, people, we have to come back to rehearsal. All of these skill sets are being utilized all at once, which is great.
Yeah. And so many different roles that are all needed, like you said, but they're all happy to be there supporting the other roles.
Absolutely.
That's the magic of theater, really.
That's really nice when you don't have to do it all yourself. So that's the nice thing, folks. When you're doing your own thing out there, know that there are communities that, need to be supported big time in this day and age. But, I love that. And then clearly you went to college, and was that your major, or was it were you not quite there yet?
I mean, at that point, I knew that was something I did want to pursue. Right. My parents, however, told me you have to consider something else. Yes. So my freshman year, I was undecided because I didn't know what that something else could possibly be. What could I choose? So as I was undecided my freshman year, I was at the University of Michigan, which after being there for a couple of years, I realized that their musical theater department was pretty amazing and the top in the country at that time. I think it still might be. When I was there, I just auditioned for their show, not even thinking anything of it because I was that ignorant. And I got in. And I was like, well, that's easy. And then I auditioned for the department because I was like, you know what? Since I'm here and since I already know these people, let's just see what happens, right? Right? You're young. Let's try it. And then I got into the department. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see this through. Let's just see what happens.
Nice.
And let my parents just have to deal with it. They have to
had to break it to them gently.
And it was one of those where I was on this track. Once you're in the department, it's just built so that you learn skill sets, you grow until you graduate, and then after you graduate, they do a showcase, which is basically a small mini performance for New York casting directors and agencies and what have you. I got an agent immediately after that, and then I started auditioning and I started booking. It was just this like treadmill that just kept on leading me down into this path where I could be in the room where the magic was happening. I could see how people were making theater. I could make connections and really connect with people that way because it's all about networking and connections in theater.
Right. Sure.
And even though I knew I did not want to be a performer for the rest of my life, it was something that got me in the door and it got me into the industry from the inside out. And so now being on the other side of the table, being a director and all of that, I know what a performer is thinking, how they're feeling, and how I might be able to communicate to them in a better way, if that makes any sense, because I was in their shoes and I was there. It's not like I was, completely ignorant to the fact that you're thinking about your steps, you're thinking about your lyrics, you're thinking about, and you're stressing out about your costume and all that. Like I was there, so I understand it. And so I think I bring a little bit of compassion and empathy when directing.
Yes.
And that's interesting too, in that's different than a regular business where, I stick in my department, you stick in your department. We went to school for those things. In theater, you learn all the other elements to make yourself a better actor, director, whatever, because you go through the motions of each of the other tasks and learn what it really takes to put on a show.
Absolutely.
Or hopefully you take that path. There are people who just kind of land in roles and things, but
yes.
Yeah.
That comes in the world of dance too. It takes from being able to teach little ones for a million years like I did, because you're putting yourselves in their shoes, and I was that shy kid, so I can understand where they're coming from, and apparently 5 years old is my spirit age, but I'm just seeing it across the way. But But I think my point is you get further on down the line, you're teaching and you put on recitals and it starts growing. And next thing you know, you can direct. It's like, it was daunting to take over Trashion in a way, but I was prepared for it because if I can have a recital with 42 children, I can do this, and so it's just kind of
recital with 42 children actually sounds a little scarier.
Yeah, it's a little bit,
agree.
a lot. That's why I'm like, okay, there can be a baby in last year's show.
Oh my gosh, there was a baby in last year's show.
So
I know.
and the
Everybody
baby
says
stole the show.
it was a great baby. They knew Pastor Matt. Yeah, and it was a wonderful outfit, and he knew there had to be a backup, but. Imagine how terrified I was to tell Kat Austin, our runway coach, that there was going to maybe possibly be a baby in it. But yes. And a little Buto performance piece in the middle with the puppet. So.
That's amazing.
Well, as you said, it's taking chances, a collab and listening. Like, you do have to make those hard decisions, like no to certain things. But as you know, like take a chance on certain things and wrap around. Let these people have their expression. Yeah.
I do have to say, Molly, that you were there every step of the way with Trashion, even before you took it over, too, which I think certainly helps. And then you were running Barbies, right?
Absolutely. We're still doing that.
Yes, that was always your jam.
I still love it. It's still my jam. Hence, zucchini races and all kinds of odd stuff like that. For a hot minute, and I'm just going to sidestep before Eric had left, we just had this kind of dream of crazy events. Like we kept putting together these crazy events. I mean, look at it too. You brought like Lee Armstrong and puppets as like an adult camp about 2 years ago. Well, guess what? Had a puppet festival with over 20 workshops and 6 shows.
Eric's your Gerardo.
What's that?
Eric's your Gerardo.
Yes.
Gerardo and I sit in the office and come up with crazy ideas.
They do. They dream and it happens, and it's a magical time.
Dream and scheme.
Dream and scheme is what it's all about. But God,
Before
what are we doing on time?
Before you ask another question, I need to go to another break. And then
all right, great. We should probably talk about what's happening at the show here coming up.
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back. Spencer, Eric Jackson. Oh, did you hear that through the headphones? That was crazy. These are sensitive mics.
Was that a funny bone hit?
Yeah, it was a funny bone hit, but I was so distracted by the sound, I didn't feel it.
I love it.
Welcome back. We are talking about now Transcendence and Dancing in the Streets, which is your show.
Dancing in the Street.
Dancing in the Streets.
It is
and
my
of course,
show.
that has to
It's
be
so
in
funny.
the show,
that was the name of my 8th grade dance performance. My first one, Mrs. Taylor, who was our
I
English
love
/
Mrs.
jazz.
Taylor.
She changed my life.
Ms.
But
Taylor.
it was. Remember in the 80s, was it Dancing in the Streets? Was it David Bowie and Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
So I'm loving this. It's bringing me back. Dancing in the living room. I'm sure that song's not on the thing, but tell us about it.
Well, you know how every Transcendence show is an original concert, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a task of mine to go, okay, what am I doing? What kind of experience do I want to provide Sonoma? This time around, we are no longer at Jack London State Park, but we are down around the plaza.
The Field of Dreams.
And it's in the Field of Dreams now. And the thought was initially, okay, if we have these types of shows, I was talking to the new artistic director, Tony Gonzalez, about like what kind of vibe would you like? And the initial thought was Motown. Let's go in the Motown direction. And I said, that's lovely, especially if we can like lean into the fact that we're not necessarily at the park. We're more in the the plaza around the businesses and organizations. Let's go for this kind of like urban summer playlist feel and then drop in a big old whomping thing of Motown in there as well. And so that became the shape. And then for me, just to like build a story, I was like, well, where could Motown fit? It could fit in a block party.
Yes.
Let's throw in one big block party and then as just a journey for everyone, have these wonderful individual people, performers, that are kind of invited to this thing. We see where they are in their lives, where they're starting off as, and then we get to see them come together, make relationships or build relationships, and then end up in this wonderful block party that to me is just the epitome of community, right? It's community coming together, and it's very meta if you want to go into that level too, because that's basically what the Transcendence concerts are. They're just one big block party in and of themselves. So it's like you get that wonderful layer of this has been with you the entire time, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so I think what's new for this show is that they're throwing this wonderful dance party aspect to it as well. So there's going to be a section during the concert where if you want to get up and shake a tail feather, you can.
So fun.
And you can go to like the dance floor and live your life.
Calling me out on Thursday. Yes.
Which is pretty fantastic.
That's amazing. I love an interactive component like that. You know?
Yeah.
So, wow.
What are some of the familiar songs?
Oh, okay. So, of course, you have your classic Motown songs. You have your Dancing on the Street. Of course, have to throw in a little Whitney Houston. So there's going to be a Whitney moment. We have some... I basically kind of created a summer playlist from the 60s through today. And so you have Under the Boardwalk, Up on the Roof, Downtown. We have these wonderful summer hits like from Barbie, the movie Barbie.
Okay.
Dance the Night. You have Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Oh, love it.
We have just these things that are going to make you just groove and shake your booty in your seat. So like Hooked on a Feeling and Uptown Funk.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be a great time.
It's an ultimate playlist.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the choreography and all of that, because I'm fascinated. You're choreographing some of this? So
I
you
am.
also are you choreographing all of it?
No, I have an associate choreographer, and this is very, very helpful because our rehearsal process has basically been a little over a week.
Yeah.
So
it's like a professional camp.
Basically, it's so quick, it's so fast, it's even faster than it has been in the past.
Right.
The first couple of days are just taken up by just teaching music.
Right.
Yes.
So by the time you have the chance to teach choreography and movement, your rehearsal process is almost done.
Right.
And there are a lot of numbers in our concerts, right? You have almost around 20 different numbers that you need to somehow figure out where people go and what are they doing once they get there.
Yes.
And so to help with just the sheer workload of it all, I have an associate choreographer, Valerie Salgado, who's actually in the show as well.
Oh, good.
And so she's performing and she's choreographing some numbers, and there's some fun stuff, especially the finale, which is so good.
So like
good.
some show-stopping lifts and partnership. I can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
I know.
You may have said this already, but how many performers do you have in the show?
We have 10.
10. Okay.
10.
So they split up all that music into 10 people. That's
Yes.
it's your rapid rehearsal schedule is terrifying me right now.
Yeah.
Well, it terrified me too.
Well,
But we did it.
But you put the trust in. This is their profession. So know that, folks. This is their profession. This is what they do.
And
even
it's probably,
though, as usual, you might trip off on little things that you notice.
Yeah. Is it
General
like
audience, we're going to be so excited.
full day schedules with
Yes.
rehearsals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're immersed in it. It's not like, hey, we've got the community center has a theater. Let's put on a show and we can take our time. This is like you're immersed in it. So you almost have to absorb it and then do it, and then it's over so fast.
It is. It's just one
Do you
weekend.
feel like you just got here?
Yes. Yes, and I have to leave because I have to go back to my
Another
other job
play.
on Monday.
Oh.
So I'm going to enjoy it while I can.
Yes.
And our show opens on Thursday, and we run through Sunday. And I've been told, this is something new that I didn't even know about. Like there is a family night on Sunday where if you bring your kids are $5.
Really?
Oh, that's so
tickets.
nice.
So that's a
that's
wonderful
magical.
thing.
That is magical.
And then I think tickets are as low as $15, I've been told. So like they're
So
making
you
this
have a
very
pride
accessible.
night there on Saturday too,
That's
right?
right. There is a Pride night.
Yeah.
That might be, if not sold out, close to sold out. So keep an eye on that. Yes, yes.
Are you going to be at all the performances?
I will be.
Is there an aspect you do during the night, maybe introduce or just sit and watch?
Just revel at the sheer amount of talent that is on that stage. I can't tell you. Okay. So I've done this a couple times. This is not my first time at the rodeo when it comes to Transcendence. This cast is so spectacular. And I'm saying this not only in a talent way, but also in a sheer just them as people with such giving and loving hearts that are just, they support each other, they support the process, and they're here for the community. And it's fun to see, I was talking before about the veterans and the new people coming in, how they've all just created this one little level of just absolute love. And so for our audiences to be in that loving embrace, that energy they're creating on stage, I have to be there every night. I'm going to be there every night.
Yes.
Sadly, I have to fly out on Sunday, so I will miss the Sunday performance. But I will be, if nothing else, in that back, dancing and shaking my rump, because it's going to be a beautiful, loving time.
I wouldn't expect anything less, because everything that you do, there has to be this element of connection and love, or it just doesn't work for you, So, and people feel that. There's a reason when Eric comes into the studio that everybody wants to see you and talk to you and everything, because they know all the passion that you bring to everything that you do, and it shines through you. It's shining through this, everything right now. So
he just did an aw shucks for those of you.
I did. Aw shucks. Golly gee willikers.
But really, no, it's fantastic. I feel fortunate to be on Kat's show here and have you here. Yeah, both of you. So.
Thank you.
Yay.
And it's like my love letter to Sonoma. It is my chance to say, you have become my home, and you will always be my home. And I want us all just to come together and love each other.
There's a lot of retirement communities in this, maybe in the future.
I was going to say, right? Is there anything that we could do to entice you back? Somebody build a theater really quick.
Hurry. We really do.
Who's got a barn?
There is only a limited amount. I mean, we love Andrews Hall, love all the productions, but it's a limited. We do not have a performing space, even when it comes to Trashion. I think you outgrew 250 people, but it's a hall. It's not set up for theater, and we just do not have that here, even though we have the love for it. So we have to get all these people together, hope for the best of the weather, and do these outdoor productions.
Seriously.
So.
Oh, well, speaking of, so I haven't been to Field of Dreams yet to see the new setup. Is the stage incredible like it was out at Jack London?
It's sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's completely different. Okay. It is so cool. It is one of those... how do I describe it? It's like those true metal stages that opens up and you feel like you are at some concert. It's truly, before it was very rustic, it was very wood, and it fit into the surroundings beautifully. And this is a different aesthetic. This is truly like that metal stage of you are at a block party. Yeah. And we had our Sitz Probe, which is a rehearsal where we get to listen and sing along with the band for the first time. And our band is on point.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Do they come in from elsewhere too?
They are local.
They are local? Okay.
Yes.
That's cool.
Isaac?
With
them?
Yes.
Good old Ike.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. God, that's great, because I think a lot of the people at Transcendence, lights, all of that kind of stuff are there, have been there for a long time, right?
Absolutely.
Am I right? So that gives it a real comfort zone, and they've had a lot of things thrown at them. So to see them, they're like, we got it, just makes you be able to produce magic on the stage, to know that you have a backup off stage. So.
Yeah, they do have it too.
Yeah.
I guess supposedly yesterday in the morning, there was that baseball field, and by the time we got to rehearsal last night, they were able to have everything set up, lights included, so they could start cueing and teching with lights.
That is insane. Everybody is on the fast track when you work for Transcendence. But it makes that show that much more incredible when you hear the background story, because again, you think, oh, well, they're from Broadway, they must have all this time to work on the show, and you see it and it's magical, and you think, oh, they must have put months into that, and then you find out they put a couple weeks into it.
Even their kids camp that they did, this was
They were so
fun.
amazing.
Colin down leading the camp in Andrews Hall, and at some point they're singing their songs and they sound so good, by the way, and that was just a week, you know. It was fantastic. But it was so fun because it really had that transcendence love. They're all supporting. Yay! We're like, we just need this all day long just for us as well. Just
floating
clapping
down the hallway.
Yay, you got
the applause. The applause was the greatest. You'd walk in the hallway and they'd be clapping for someone in the theater, and you're like, why, thank you. Thank you.
That's right. I got the rest of my day with this support.
Entrance applause.
Well, we've got to wrap up. This went so fast, and I'm so sad because that means that I have to give you back to Transcendence. Which,
I mean, you got
sure,
a show to put
whatever.
on.
That's right.
Let's give out some links. I think bestnightever.org is still the way to get tickets.
That's correct.
Is there a way people can follow you? Do you prefer Instagram? Do you prefer Facebook? What else can people know?
I mean, if you want to follow me, you can, but I don't really post that much. That's why I probably don't promote myself because I'm not really a social media person. But if you want to find out more about Pioneer Theater Company, you can do that at pioneertheater.org. That's THEATRE. And
maybe we all need a road trip.
Yes, I actually been looking at tickets.
Yes.
There's the new Santa Rosa Avello Airlines that are very inexpensive.
Which means I can come
Worth showing
back
up.
more often, too.
Yeah, let's talk. And just on this side of things, too, because we're kind of collabing. I'm hoping that this comes out for the Sonoma Community Center podcast as well. Delightful to have you back.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah.
And what can I say? Follow the Sonoma Community Center podcast. Support KSVY over here, which is a gem.
Transcendence is a sponsor. We were just handed a note.
Yeah. Yay.
Come on, Transcendence.
All right.
Come on.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
See
you.
you next week.